There are 3 games left in the current NFL season. We got the 2 conference championships that we'll be covering this week, and then, of course, the Super Bowl. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's jump into the 2 games this week that will be highly anticipated. Don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel to keep getting this and other football content year-round, and comment your picks. Yeah, a lot of chalk here, Sliwa. You surprised at all? Obviously, I think the Commanders shocked a lot of us, but um, any shock in your mind that you're seeing the 1 and 2 seeds out of here, or the Chiefs and the other 2 seeds?
No, I mean, I think it's pretty much what everyone expected outside of the Commanders. Would have been, or outside of, yeah, the Lions being in there to pretty much complete the full chalk for the conference championships.
Yeah,
But
I'm very happy it's not full chalk, but we're getting very accustomed to seeing Kansas City and the Bills face off in the playoffs, and the Eagles are there with their dominant defense. Not too surprised, but I would have loved to have seen the Rams and the Eagles face off in a weather neutral site to see if that game would have gone down any differently. Because I think you might have seen a different outcome had it been a dry game.
yeah, and while PFF is a great tool, like gives you a lot of insight on different areas of the game. I mean, we said it in last week's video, but the Commanders and the Bills were the two lowest rated PFF playoff teams, and here we are with both of them in the conference
And that's
championship.
what great quarterback play gets you
That's
too. The
exactly
playoffs is
right.
a quarterback game.
That's right where I was coming back with it. But I mean, Josh Allen didn't have to do too much, but neither did Hurts. So I mean, and on the flip side, like we were just talking about, they didn't turn the ball over. They played sound football and really let their teams
Yeah.
kind of handle business. But
Yeah.
let's jump into that first matchup on the NFC side. We have the Eagles opening as 5.5 point favorites at home. As of yesterday, we had 67% of the public opening up on the Commanders.
Ooh.
And not too surprised. I mean, just from what we saw against the Lions, but I do think that'll even out as more money starts to flow in. And I mean, we did see the Eagles play a little bit later, but I mean, they are at home again. I checked the forecast. At least as of right now, there isn't expected any snow. I do think snow would help them once again, as it did in that Rams matchup. I mean, I thought the early start, uh, getting the lead in the first quarter, and then really the snow coming down hard in the second half just made that Rams passing offense just impossible to get moving. So, I mean, worse weather, the better. Looks like it'll just be cold in this one, so maybe not as much of an advantage. But I mentioned it last week, and the streak continues. Hurts throws for under 150 passing yards. He's now 4-0 in playoff games when doing so. So they don't want to pass. I mean, this Commanders' run defense statistically ranks near the bottom, but I mean, we just saw last week the Lions looking like a team that would be able to take advantage of that mismatch, and it just didn't happen. I mean, that's
Yeah, and
the
that's what happens when you let the opposing team and or you let the Commanders get out to a lead. The the Eagles or the Commanders both their games are so predicated on getting out to the lead in this matchup, especially because Eagles don't want to have to pass the football. The Commanders want to keep the pressure on Jalen Hurts in his arm, and they do not want to let Saquon Barkley in this offensive line get going. I don't know if you saw, but the highest ever over under for a running back's rushing total in this game for Saquon Barkley over under 130 yards. So they're expecting a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley in this offense in the run game, having a ton of rushing attempts. Um, I think that it's really easy for this team with Saquon Barkley and this offensive line to get really big chunk plays, like you saw against the Rams there last week. What was really surprising to me though was the pass blocking from that unit that is so good at blocking the run. I don't know if it's just that this Rams defensive front is just lights out all world, but they did not do a great job of protecting Jalen Hurts. And you saw him get a little bit of a tweaked knee there that one play where he was brought down awkwardly. So we'll see if that comes into a factor. But if the Commanders can get out to a lead and make Jalen Hurts throw, which we know the Eagles don't want to do, and we know his success and the team's success when he throws for over 150 yards, coupled with the fact that offensive line is doing a poor job of slowing down the pass rush, that's how the Commanders can win this game. These two teams have played twice this year. Each team winning at home. The first time they played, the Eagles won by 8 at home. Second time, Commanders by 3. So, you throw a 5.5 line out there. It seems to make sense, given the circumstances. But it's this game out of so many that we've seen this season is going to really come down, I think, to how the teams start and probably answer the first score of the game. If the Eagles get up right away, Jaden Daniels has got to go down and drive down the field and get points for his team, and vice versa. If the Commanders put up points, you got to see the same for the Eagles, because if they start to punt and get behind more than one score, that's when I think you start to get a little bit of panic from this Eagles offense and their rushing attack. So, anything I said you disagree with or you want to add to?
No, I completely agree. I mean, we saw it, like that was my whole point with that Rams game. Like, I mean, and a little biased because we were on the Rams, but I do think they got um some missed PI calls, specifically on Darius Slay.
Mm-hmm.
Some bad spots there, but regardless, they came down or they started down early in that game, and that really allowed the rushing attack for Philly to get going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not to mention, I mean, Hurts' first rushing touchdown was the first drive of the game, 44 yards. But you mentioned that tweaked knee. I mean, I don't think he's going to have that same explosion. Like I mean, if you saw the replay, kind of got rolled over on.
Oh yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely going to be some swelling. I mean, he'll be fine to play, but yeah, maybe not 100% for this game. I mean, it's hard to recover that quick from like a knee injury. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting, and yeah, I think whoever is able to control the game. But like always, I think it's a little easier to recover as the passing team. With that being the Commanders, I like Daniels more as a passer. I
Of
mean, it's been
course.
all over this last week, but I mean, you've seen like he takes like thousands of like VR reps. I thought that was pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool to read about. Yeah, I mean, he definitely doesn't act like a rookie quarterback, and they'd have the quarterback advantage in this one. It's just, yeah, I mean, we their defense and all that lowly rated in the advanced statistics, but I mean, they're in the conference championship. At this point, you can almost throw some of that out the window. You got to make big plays in a game like this. And I think I'm going with Daniels and the Commanders plus 5.5. I do think the Eagles are going to win the game, but I like the spread. I think that they'll be able to put up points. I really thought the Rams still would have won that game if it weren't for all the snow
I do too.
towards the end. The turnovers, a couple fumbles, and just kind of it's just so hard to get that passing offense going. What they really wanted to rely on late in the game, and with that much snow, it was kind of got impossible. So I
Yeah, there
think the
was a whole
Commanders
quarter there
will
where
be able
they
to pull
just
it off.
couldn't do anything.
Or I think the Commanders will at least be able to keep it close enough and kind of a similar approach.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think the Eagles win this game in a close one. I think the Commanders cover 5.5. I think the Eagles win probably by my guess. The Eagles win by 3. Jaden Daniels has a chance to tie or win the game on the last possession, but the Eagles defense stands up. Is my ultimate prediction here. I think the reason that the Commanders are going to be able to stay in the game is Jalen Hurts' inability to pass, coupled with the fact that he's a little bit slower now with this knee injury and probably a little more hesitant to run the football and take hits again, and that offensive line, some poor pass blocking there, which isn't going to help Hurts either. But I do think that you're going to see a lot of Saquon Barkley and this behind this dominant run blocking offensive line, and that's going to be enough. I'm predicting for the Eagles to win this game. You get a couple of flashy passes here and there to Devonta Smith and AJ Brown, and that's their recipe for success. But if Jalen Hurts and cannot make a big play or two with his arm, I think the Commanders have a very real shot to win this game, because we're not seeing any sign of Jaden Daniels playing like a rookie quarterback or slowing down or regressing to how rookie quarterbacks play. You keep thinking that maybe him and his connection to Terry is going to wear off, but it just keeps getting stronger throughout the season. And it's, a pretty fun thing to watch. It's just, do you believe that he gets it again for one more game or two? But this Eagles defense is so much different and so much better than the Lions huddle defense they put out there last week. I think that's ultimately what is going to take me over the edge for taking the Eagles money line here, which I don't love. I think the right bet is the plus 5.5, because like we said, it's like I think there's two things you need when you're making a run in the playoffs. It's a quarterback and a defense. Each team has one, not necessarily the other. We'll see which one plays out here. I think the Eagles' defense is better than Jaden Daniels is at quarterback. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, and then I mean, you barely talked about it, but the run game with Saquon, I mean, over 200 rushing yards. In a favorable matchup here. Yes, like Washington didn't really show that as much against the Lions, but I mean, we've seen it all season. The Eagles want to rely on that run game, but if they get down early and Hurts has to throw the ball, that's when they lose these playoff games. So I think, like you said, it's really a matter of who's going to be able to control the just the style of play early on, like grabbing that lead. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with not much loyalty left in these playoffs. I'm rooting for these dogs.
Yeah, I am too. I don't think if the Commanders win this game, they have a chance against either team. But frankly, I don't know if the Eagles do either. So let's hope for a fun game.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point. I do think the AFC side is looking a lot stronger at this point, but we're on the same page there. Let's jump over to the other side, the 1 versus 2 matchup. This was later or yesterday, but I did see once again a lot of the public on the Bills. I mean, I do think a lot of people are just tired of the Chiefs winning. Let's be honest. I mean, we've
Yeah.
been out with the Patriots before. It's now becoming the Chiefs. So, I mean, me like a lot of others, like I'm just root against the Chiefs at this point, almost, or yeah, pretty much no matter who they're playing against. So, but once again, I do think that's going to even out. People are going to realize, oh, the Chiefs are even money at home. Um, Patrick Mahomes has never lost to Josh Allen in the playoffs. Like, yeah, maybe that's some good value. Um, but yeah, we just saw the Bills play a big game, beat the Ravens, aided by Mark Andrews drop, turnovers, a lot of these things. But they're headed on the road to Kansas City, and this could be a great game. They've Josh Allen and Mahomes have met 3 times now. Mahomes has just dominated the matchup so far. I mean, I don't want to get too into it or anything like that, but like I don't think we're gonna get a ref show. Hopefully not.
No, I don't think so. Not at this stage.
I don't think so either. So, I mean, I'm really hoping Allen can play well, but I mean, he really didn't have to do that much against the Ravens. I was surprised, but I mean, aided by those turnovers that I just mentioned. But one big key I will talk about I mean, it's been mentioned, but I don't think the actual impact has talked about enough. But Matt Milano, since returning from the Bills, they're 5-1 since he came back in December. Recovered 2 fumbles in the month of December. Had a sack in the wild card game against the Broncos. Huge tip on the 2-point conversion to hold it to I believe 19-21 in the
Hmm.
game against the Ravens. So I mean he's been making plays every game since he's been back, and they've I mean
But
and
they
then
flat out need him if they want to compete this game. Like
and he
huge
makes
addition, and they
so
need
great.
him.
Like he makes a big play like that here and there, and Josh Allen can keep playing that turnover, um, just staying away from turnovers, really.
Has to. That's how you can't beat the Chiefs and lose a turnover battle.
Yeah, so it's going to take a perfect game, but I mean,
It
it
will.
looked really good, and I wouldn't put it past him. But where's your head at in an even line? I mean, it feels almost stupid to go against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in the way the Bills looked against the Ravens. They lost that turnover margin 3-0 and still were on the ropes that game. You get if the Ravens get one of those um 2-point conversions, it's a different game. I still think the Bills win it because I think the minute 30 that the Bills would have had was enough for them to get the field goal. But in those conditions, you never know. They were basically handed that game and they almost handed it back, which is what concerns me for the Bills. They were 3-0 in the turnover margin and they still won by the skin of their teeth that game. That's concerning to me because, like I said, you cannot beat the Chiefs if you lose the turnover margin, and the Chiefs aren't going to, and Patrick Mahomes is not going to give the ball away. He just does not do that very often. When he has had some elevated numbers this year, but that's been more him trying to fit the ball in tight windows and throw the ball like he's throwing to Tyreek Hill when you have Justin Watson at wide receiver. So it's a little bit different. But in the playoffs, he definitely tightens it down, and he has it, and will continue to. And what we've seen from Josh Allen is that he can be turnover prone, but I do believe that's behind him. He's playing football at the next level. He kind of just figured it out this year. Everyone does it, or some people do it at different times. Mahomes did it right away. Took Allen a few years. Joe Burrow's there, but Josh Allen has figured that out officially, I think. And I don't think we're seeing the turnover prone Josh Allen anytime soon. But like I said, you just not losing the turnover margin is not the only prerequisite that it takes to beat the Chiefs here. They have one of the best defenses. Certainly been playing better than the Ravens. And what they're going to need to do, given the Chiefs' defense in their archetypes, is establish to run early because this Chiefs team really thrives in the passing game. Their linebackers are built really lean, not like your big traditional like Ray Lewis linebackers, but more of a hybrid strong safety. So they're great in coverage, but they're not the biggest guys in the box. So the Bills, who have a much more revamped offensive line, and James Cook, who's just as good running the ball between the tackles as he is outside, those guys need to get going. So it's not all Josh Allen and his, let's call it mediocre on overall wide receiving core. I think ultimately, like, again, it's very damning to me that the Bills won the turnover margin +3 and barely could hold off the Ravens. Josh Allen didn't do anything crazy, and I think it's at least in the passing game with his passing stats. And I think that's attributed to the overall talent level of his wide receivers and his tight ends. So all of that is to say that I think there's almost no margin of error for the Bills here. Though in effect a little bit of maybe some refs on the Chiefs side, which I would never actually make me influence my pick, but I'm on the Chiefs to win this game here.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I want the Bills to win, but
And I hate it.
as
I
a
don't want to be on
yeah,
the Chiefs to win.
as
I
a
just
as a better and I mean trying to make some money, yeah, I'm gonna take the Chiefs at almost even odds. I mean, at home in the playoffs. PFF indicates they're the better team. They have the better defense. I mean, as good as Josh Allen is this year, I mean, like if
it's
your
all
other
Josh
option is
Allen.
Patrick Mahomes, like come on, like you can't feel bad about that decision at all.
No,
And just
this Bills team, it wouldn't be the first time that a team that's basically all quarterback goes into Kansas City and wins in the playoffs. We saw the Bengals do in 2021 and just fall short against the Rams in that Super Bowl. So it would not be the first time, but it really has to be all Josh Allen. And you know what? I really hope he does it, especially because I think that locks up the MVP, even though these games don't supposedly have any impact on the voting. If Josh Allen's playing in the Super Bowl and beats Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, they're giving him MVP. They probably are giving him MVP anyways, but it locks it up. I think it silences all the haters. It has to be Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen, and he can do it. He might run for 80 yards and throw for 300, but he's got to play flawless, and I can't wait to watch because part of me thinks that he will. I think this season, there's not a doubt in anyone's mind. That not a doubt in my mind. Maybe I won't speak for anyone else. That I'd rather have Josh Allen at quarterback for my team than Patrick Mahomes right now. Right now being the key word, but there's nothing that Josh Allen can't do. Not a single thing that he can't do. Make a throw, make a run. I just doesn't commit turnovers.
yeah, that's right.
There's no more knocks on his game anymore. There's nothing you could say about Josh Allen that is like, well, he can't. Only thing he can't do is run as fast as Lamar Jackson, and he's not too far behind.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he's a lot bigger.
exactly, he will run up the middle all day long, and it's
Eh,
beautiful.
Yeah, like I mean, I was watching the game, and I mean, it's not like the best comparison by any means, but he is like in my mind like a Cam Newton with a better arm or more
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah,
But
he can make
yeah,
every throw.
yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be tough, and just even pouring into it a little bit more, the Ravens tight ends, they were really productive against the Buffalo
Hmm.
defense, nine combining for 9 catches, 134 yards.
Wow.
I mean, we saw Travis Kelsey have a big game against the Texans. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, not that he's going to be living off these dominant performances like we've seen in the years past, but I mean, we could see some production out of him. Um, and like you said, I mean, you're going to need a big game from Matt Milano. Going to need some of these guys on Buffalo's defense to step up because they got the 3 turnovers this last game, and like you said, it was still barely enough. Even with having money on Buffalo, I did not feel good. Like there's 2 turnovers, and I believe they were just up the one score at the time. It just felt like it should
Mhm.
have a wider margin. And then
Yeah.
Rams getting the ball back, ready to tie the game. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that thought. And
Yeah, if you're taking the Bills here, you are just signing up for seeing Josh Allen play the game of his life. And I hope he does it. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope the Bills win. But you're taking one man against a complete team, a great head coach, and a Hall of Fame quarterback who people are calling the best ever. So it's really hard to say when you frame it like that. The team, the latter team I just described, the all-around better team that's only lost 2 games this year, and one of them was when they benched all their guys. They're only a 1.5 point favorite. Like it does seem too easy at
and
times
then
when
you
you
still get a
frame it
bunch of
that way.
people betting on the Bills, Like I
Yeah.
did it last year. I don't want to do it again. So
When the
I'm
Bills
not.
beat the Chiefs this year, I said that's honestly probably good for the Chiefs because they're going to come back in the playoffs and they're going to have a little chip on their shoulder and be ready to beat these guys. If it was vice versa and the Chiefs beat the Bills, then I really do think that makes a difference in the mentality going into this game, even if ever so slightly. It's so imperceptible and immeasurable, but I do truly believe that it matters, especially in a game this close. I'm on the Chiefs. You're on the Chiefs. I can't wait to watch this game. I wish this was the Super Bowl. For all we know, it
Yeah.
probably will decide it, but we'll see what
They
happens.
Jalen Hurts knee rehabs and I mean #1 defense. I mean they can make any game interesting, especially we're
Yeah,
talking
that'd be
about
an
once
intriguing
again
game
two
against the
teams that
Chiefs.
don't stop the run well. Like
Yeah, yeah.
how good
It's
Saquon is.
anything can happen in the Super Bowl. It's one game for the rest of your life. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Any other remarks?
Uh, I'm
I
I'm right there
cannot
with you,
wait,
Woj.
but it breaks my heart knowing that after this weekend we only have one game of football left for like the next 8 months. Always hurts, but let's enjoy it while it lasts, and we'll see everyone next week for the Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody.